Hello friends, welcome to a vlog. We're not calling it a weekly vlog because truthfully I have no idea how long this video is going to take. Let me tell you what the vlog's about and then we'll catch up on like life. That sounds good. Rachel Harrison has been a hit author for me. I read Cackle 2 years ago via audio, and that book was just such the right book at the right time for me. It was about a teacher, it was about a single girl, it was about like figuring out life, and it had fall vibes. So it was perfect. Last year I read Black Sheep, which it has very controversial opinions about it, and if you know what that book is about, then you know why. And I read that book. Some of the subject matter was a little bit like touchy, but if you push through it and you like, it's fiction, that book also did some really good things for my heart. I didn't love it as much as Cackle, but I still loved the story. And so this year I want to continue my reading and ranking of Rachel Harrison books. And so in this vlog, we are going to be reading 2 more of her books: The Return, which is her debut, and So Thirsty, which is her most recent release. I think this is going to be interesting to see like where she came from and where she is, but we're starting with this book. And truthfully, I am already, I think, 5% into it. I started listening to it while I was putting on my makeup this morning. This book is about this group of friends. They're adult women, and one of their friends has gone missing. Their friend's name is Julie. She has recently like gotten married, returned home. So she's like left her little friend group, gone away, gotten married, bought a bed and breakfast with her new husband, but none of her friends have met her husband. And upon hearing the news that her friend has gone missing, our main character, Elise, is like, no, she's not missing. She's not dead. She's like playing a trick on all of us. She wants attention. This is just her. And all of her other friends are like, no, she's missing. We need to like accept this and move on. And so that's the dynamic so far. It's now been a year. The group of girls is going to this bed and breakfast that her friend was going to open with her husband to have a memorial service for her. Now, this is all happening within like the first 30 pages of the book. So I have no idea where it's headed, but obviously I think Julie is going to return. There have already been some quotes in this that have hit really hard, and I haven't stopped to like tab them because I was listening on audio while I was getting ready, but I definitely need to find the one quote that already hit me really hard. And we're gonna keep listening to this throughout the day. Now, it's the middle of the day and it's a Thursday and I'm not on any kind of break. So why am I home today? I live in Mississippi, central Mississippi, and Hurricane Francine was supposed to pass through and hit us pretty hard last night. We canceled school for the day. Fortunately, the rain did come, but the winds stayed pretty tame, and so all we're dealing with is a lot of rain, and some areas of my city are flooded. But it's a day off, and so I'm gonna get a lot of this book read today on audio, and I'm about to go run some really fun errands, and it's over in the area where Dunkin' Donuts is. I never go to Dunkin' Donuts. It's on the other side of town for me, and Starbucks and Mocha Mugs and 7 Brew are all right next door, so I just never have the need to. But why don't we go and get a little iced coffee treat at Dunkin' Donuts and pick up some of my fall goodies that I have to pick up today, and just keep listening to this. And one of the quotes that kind of hit me as I was listening, Elise, the main character, is kind of describing her friends and their personalities, and she's describing her friend called May. May was hardwired to think showing emotion was bad manners. She had a sensitive nature, but she tried best to suppress it. She never wanted to put anyone out by acknowledging she had feelings of her own. Goodness gracious, that hit me hard. Just got back from my random little errands. All of my baby hairs are doing their thing. I got a nutty pumpkin, which I'd give like a 6.5 out of 10. I like the creaminess of it. I think something in the hazelnut tastes a little bit chemically to me, and that's making me not love it. I like the pumpkin taste. I'm gonna drink it, obviously. My friend got me this little Java sock for my birthday. It's like pink and lace, but it has kitty cats all over it. And then in the Dunkin' app, they had like a deal where you could get $1 muffin. Wow, muffin. They had a deal where you could get $1 muffin with any purchase. And so I got a little pumpkin muffin for a snack while I read today. But let me also show you what I went to pick up, like the whole reason I went out today. And then we'll get back to reading and updating you on the return. We have this boutique in my area that takes custom t-shirt orders on Facebook. Like they'll share all of these designs and then all of the colors of the shirts that you can pick from. And then you can like be like, I want this shirt in a Comfort Colors gray, and they'll make it for you. And so they started posting their Halloween designs, and I got 2. And they're not very expensive for like a custom t-shirt. So the first one that I got, you know, I love my like pink horror girly Halloween. So I got this t-shirt that says boo on it. It's like orange and pink. It kind of looks like it says boy, but it says boo. And that's gonna be my pink girly Halloween moment. And then I also got a sweatshirt. This is my first ghosty sweatshirt, but I also got this one that says spooky season, and I got it in gray. So I've got lots of sweatshirts to switch in and out between. So that was a really exciting purchase, but I'm gonna sit down and we're gonna talk about what I've read in the return so far. Okay, let's catch up on this book. I feel like I haven't been reading it enough to give you an update, but I feel like there's so much to say already. So we have our friend group. It is our main character, Elise. There's May, there's Molly, and then there's Jules, who is the friend that went missing. And the opening book was kind of how all of the friends were dealing with the disappearance of Julie in a different way. And Elise is the friend that kind of was like, I refuse to believe that she's gone. And because this book is called The Return, you know Jules is going to come back, and she does. And so at the point in the book where we are right now, all of the girls are planning a trip to kind of get back together and spend time together. They booked reservations at this really expensive, nice hotel in New York, and they are all waiting for Jules to get there at the moment. So far, this book is already touching on some things that give me really big feelings. Elise is a friend that kind of feels like an outsider of her friend group. All of her friends are doing better financially than she is. Like this whole hotel, she's constantly thinking of like, well, in order for me to go, I'm gonna have to eat like ramen and sandwiches for the rest of the month for me to be able to afford this. I feel that so hard. It's hard to like still feel like you are a friend when you cannot afford the things that your friends all want to do together. And then she's always feeling like she has imposter syndrome just to be friends with her friends. So she's always like, I need to get there earlier than everybody else so that I'm there for everything, because if I'm not there for everything, are people even going to miss me if I'm not there? Are people even going to like acknowledge that I'm not there? Are they going to think about me at all? And so she's like, well, by getting there early, I can ensure that people are thinking of me and that I will be included and that I won't be missing out on anything. And I feel like for people who are extra sensitive, like hypersensitive people, that is an intrusive thought that you deal with a lot. And so far I'm kind of wondering, is the antagonist, is the horror of this book intrusive thoughts? Like, is that the theme that we're dealing with here? If not, maybe I'm just relating with it on a super personal level. But yeah, that's definitely my thoughts so far. Each friend is staying in a different room in the hotel, which is something else that Elise is having to deal with, because she's like, well, this trip could have been cheaper if we just decided to stay together. But her friends were like, no, all of the rooms are themed differently, so we each need our own room so that we can get like the full experience of this hotel, instead of somebody reaching out and being like, hey, let's do 2 people to a room, and then, you know, one of us can have our own room, and that way it's a little bit cheaper. Like, nobody is thinking of the situation that Elise is in, and that makes me really angry with her friends. Big friend dynamics here. Wow. I am going to curl up in the bed and keep listening. I do have some work I need to do for Patreon, maybe this evening, but for right now, I'm very invested in this. Something else that I was gonna do this weekend anyway, but I have the time to do today, is prepare for an audition. So there is a production of Neil Simon's Rumors happening next week. So the auditions are Monday and Tuesday, and I have tried to get my hands on a script and cannot find one. So I'm about to try and find a good quality production of it on YouTube, not because I ever want to go into an audition trying to copy somebody else, but I do try and go in with an understanding of the characters and the overall story so that I can feel prepared, and so that like when somebody hands me a side, because it's going to be cold read auditions, if you don't know what that means, basically you don't go in memorizing anything. They hand you a section of the script. They say this is going to be your scene partner. You've got 5 minutes to read over it, and then you're going to come do it on stage in front of the director. So I like to have an idea of, you know, the big beats in the show and who the characters are. And this is one that I really would like to get cast in, because I've done 2 Neil Simon shows in the past. I've done Barefoot in the Park, where I played Corey, and it was like one of the highlights of my acting careers. And then I also did Neil Simon's The Dinner Party, where I played Mary Ann. And so this would be the 3rd Neil Simon show I would get to do, all under the same director, and it would just mean the world to me. I'm trying to not get my hopes up, but also like I really, really want this part. I would be happy with literally any part in the show, but I am going to prepare for that for a little while and then get back to reading. I just finished chapter 2, which normally wouldn't sound like very much, but that is page 72. Chapter 3 starts on page 73. So the chapters are long, which normally I don't like, but it works here. It's not taking me out of the story or like making the pacing weird or anything. But Julie has returned to the friend group, and I'm not spoiling anything because this is in the synopsis. She is like a shell of her former self. Like, her breath is bad, her teeth are chipped, her skin is like sallow and hanging, her leggings are like baggy and falling off of her. So something is wrong, but she's not acting weird. So I don't know what's going on there. And then like other subtle things are also creepy. Like Elise, the main character, always feels like something else is in the room with her, or like she'll leave and come back and her bag will be spilled on the floor, or she'll just feel like someone is watching her. So we have whatever's going on with Julie, but we also have just like this very, I almost feel like psychological horror happening. There's my girls. Hey girls. But it's like 6 o'clock, and so I'm gonna go make dinner and then wind down for the evening and get back to reading. Good morning. Happy Friday the 13th. That's exciting, isn't it? I'm starting my day with coffee and what's left of a piece of pumpkin bread from Starbucks. I got a gift card for my birthday, so it was a very fun morning. I know it's not Halloween yet, but because it's Friday the 13th, we're going with the shirt, but also because I spilled coffee on my original outfit for today. So this is what we're gonna wear today. Can y'all see the flowers over there? My best friend's mom sent me belated birthday flowers to my work, which was so sweet. So those are gonna hang out over there. I have made even more progress in The Return. Chapter 3 is an 89-minute long audiobook chapter, so I'm not through I finished chapter 3, I'm in chapter 4 now. And I still have all of the same thoughts. And there's something really cool about this book in that these girls are all reuniting at this hotel, and the rooms of the hotel are all themed. And the girl who kind of set the trip up was trying to match each girl to a room that represented them or that made her think of them. And none of them really feel as if the rooms do match them. So it's just this metaphor of like being known and the disconnect you feel from people when they're acting like they know you and they don't. There's also a lot of really unsettling things in here. I don't think it's going the same route as Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, but there is some imagery that is as unsettling as the imagery that's in that book, if that makes sense at all. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still gonna keep listening to it today. That's gonna be the thing today. We were off work yesterday, and can I just say, it feels rude. It feels so rude to have a day off and then come back for a Friday, but I have a test to help my students get ready for, so I'm about to make like a little practice test for them and some other things that we can do in class today. Let's get the school day done, and then we can have a lot of reading time this weekend. Cheers to a pumpkin spice latte day, though. We all need that sometimes. We have secret pals at work. My secret pal just did a great job. They brought me a Diet Coke from Sonic, but not just any Diet Coke, a dirty Diet Coke. What a great day. I get a coffee and I get a dirty Diet Coke. It is quite a while later since my last update. This week has been one of my busiest weeks I've ever had. I had something going on every single night, which was amazing. I loved everything that I did, but I didn't pick up my camera to really vlog at all, and I didn't really get to read it all. But last weekend I finished this book, which I owe you an update on. So I ended up giving The Return 4 stars. I really liked this book. It was so unsettling. I told you pretty much the premise. We have a group of friends and one of them goes missing and then returns 2 years later with like literally no explanation, and they get together at this hotel. All of the rooms are themed, and their friend that has returned has been changed in quite a substantial way, and it takes them all a little bit of time to figure it out. But once the reveal of like what or who this person truly is happens, it is just like heart-pounding nonstop action. The like gruesomeness of this, but also the self-realization that it forces our characters to have, was just top-notch. So I don't know, people don't really talk about this one as much, but I really thought it was a good book, and I thought that the horror in it was appropriate for the situation. Sometimes I think horror just exists to shock, but I think that the horror that came from this was so appropriate and like juxtaposed what our characters were feeling so well. So I do very much recommend this one, and let me know if you've read it, because again, I don't feel like a lot of people read this one. And then last Sunday, after I finished that, I started reading So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison, and I got 2 chapters in, and then I didn't get to pick it up the entire week. But over the course of this weekend, I am now 50% through So Thirsty, and the writing shift between this book and this book is apparent. I feel like this one is even more atmospheric, but I will say that this book is not going to be for everybody. So let me kind of debrief what's going on so far. We have our main character. Her name is Sloane. Yes, her name is Sloane. And she is kind of at this cross point of her life. Her husband is cheating on her. She knows this, but she's also very comfortable in where she is in life, so she doesn't really want to confront it or change things in her life. She has a best friend named Naomi, who is very much this like free spirit, who doesn't say no to things, who wants to experience life to its fullest, whereas Sloane is just kind of happy, staying contented where she is, staying comfortable, not pushing the comfort zones. And so for her birthday, her husband Joel gets Sloane this girls' weekend with her and Naomi in this like quaint little cottage bed and breakfast type thing. And Sloane knows like deep in her gut that the only reason he got her this present is because he's cheating on her and he wants that weekend with somebody else. But she still goes on this trip with Naomi because she loves Naomi and she doesn't get to see her very often. What should be like a quaint, quiet weekend between our 2 best friends turns disastrous when Sloane finds these people and she's like, hey, we're going somewhere tonight and you don't have a choice. It's your birthday and I want you to let loose and live. And they go to this party, and once we get to this party, this is where the book becomes not for everybody. So if you don't want to know anything about it, skip ahead in the video until I don't have the like spoiler warning down at the bottom. It's not going to be a huge spoiler, but for my people that like don't like graphic things, maybe stick around and listen. So we are introduced to this party with these people who, you know, right off the bat are vampires. The way that they speak, the way that they interact, the way that they look, it's very clear that they are vampires. But it is also like this big group sex orgy party. Again, this book is not going to be for everybody. And the reason why I could stick with it is because our character Sloane does not want to participate. So she runs and gets out of that area. But because this is a vampire book and because the name of the book is So Thirsty, you know, things happen to our characters. And that's where I am in the book right now. It is atmospheric, it is moody, it is a very just like dark glam feeling, if that is a vibe. But this book isn't going to be for everybody. So just forewarning you. I love Rachel Harrison's writing. I think ever since Black Sheep, her goal has been to bring on horror that is still relatable, but also horror that shocks you a little bit. And this one definitely did that. It does get a little bit descriptive. But where all of her books kind of have horror on the outside as well as horror on the inside, I think that this book does too. It deals with things that I feel like women definitely go through as they age. our character Sloane talks about how she can't look in the mirror and feel happy with herself, and how she spends hours and hours a day researching eye creams, and she wishes she could go back to the days of her youth and retry things and living with regret. And I think that all of that is something that, depending on how you view your life, can sometimes be a little bit horrific. So enjoying my time, a little bit shocked as I go through my time, but enjoying my time. Let's also talk about just like what's been going on in my life this week, because it's been a lot. Monday and Tuesday night, I had auditions at the community theater for a show that literally is a dream show of mine. I have been in 2 Neil Simon plays in the past. I was Corey in Barefoot in the Park, which I feel like that is like the iconic Neil Simon play. And Corey is one of the like iconic Neil Simon characters. So I will always be grateful for my opportunity to be in that play. I also played Mariette in The Dinner Party, which that play is kind of, I mean, no offense to Neil Simon, but it's a little bit of a flop of a play, but I still had a lot of fun doing it. His writing is still spot on, and I had a lot of fun playing that character. But next to Barefoot in the Park, I would say that his highest ranked, rated, produced play is Rumors, which this is a farce. If you don't know what a farce is, think about the movie Clue. That's a farce. Running around, slamming doors, misunderstandings, physical comedy. This play is that. And since I have the script, you might be able to make an assumption that I did in fact get cast in the show. I got cast in the show. And not only did I get cast in the show, like every character in here pretty much is a big character. But there are 2 female characters that I would say are like the top female characters. It's definitely an ensemble show, so don't think that I'm like making myself more important than anybody else, but my line load is tremendous. My line load is tremendous. So I got the part of Claire Gans. This might not mean anything to some of y'all, but to the few that it might mean something to, I'm very excited. So I'm going to be playing Claire. She is the husband. She is the wife of Lenny, and she is very much a socialite. She cares a lot about her appearance as well as other appearances. She is very, very sarcastic, but she's also very, very not smart, but she thinks that she is smart. So I'm going to have so much fun playing this character. On Wednesday night, we had our first read through, which is basically where we don't act it out, but we all sit in a circle and we get to know like our partner, because every single person in the show is either married or working with somebody else. And I have a very large line load. I think I counted, and I think I have 227 lines to learn. And the way that I learn lines is by making flashcards on the website Quizlet, which then transfers over to my phone, and I can just flip through them and go in order. I make flashcards with the line that is said before me as well as my line on the back, and I just go through until I know them. So that's going to be something that takes a little bit of time. I love learning lines. I am a nerd, a proud nerd, but I am a nerd. And so I'm very excited to dive into this. We start rehearsals, blocking rehearsals, which is where you like learn where you're going to move and where you're going to stand at different points in the play. We start those rehearsals on Wednesday, and we'll pretty much have rehearsals every weeknight except a few nights a week. So I'm so excited. The show is in November. I was telling my patrons I wish I could fly them all out to see the show, but I know I can't do that, but I'm so excited. I have a really sparkly black dress that I get to wear. I get to be real pretty. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. And also, I have worked with every single person that got cast in the show in some way or another, and I just think that our onstage chemistry is going to be unmatched. Oh, I'm so excited. So that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday it was just a very theater heavy week. I went to a professional theater and I saw their production of Noises Off. Noises Off was the first community theater production I was ever in back in 2013. Not my first play, because I did school plays all through high school and college, but it was my first community theater play, and I got to play the role of Poppy, who is the frazzled stage manager trying to keep a show together. So Noises Off is about a show within a show. So you see all of the actors and like what's going on in their lives, but then you see them acting out a show, and everything goes wrong in that show. And I went with one of my co-stars back from 2013. Her name is Emily. We've done a lot of theater together since then, but she played Brooke, who is like the little sex kitten who gets cast in this show and is a bad actor, and I play Poppy, the stage manager. And so it was really fun to go see the show with her. Knowing the script, we were laughing from the beginning to the end. We both were talking about how much our faces hurt at the end of the show, and that show is also a farce. And I left just wanting to make this show the best dang community theater show anybody's ever come to. So there's your theater update / life update. Friday, I got home from work and fell asleep immediately. And then this weekend, I have been making line flashcards pretty much the entire weekend. And then I just had book club. We read Home Before Dark, which I read 4 years ago. I remembered a little bit of it, but I didn't remember very much. So I definitely was a social member today. And I think what I'm about to do is plug my phone in so it can charge, put my headphones on, and walk a little bit on the treadmill while I listen to some more of So Thirsty. Hello guys. It's been literal weeks since I finished these books. I don't know how to describe what life has been like the last 3 weeks. It's been very emotional, and I kind of lost the motivation and energy to pick up the camera for a second there. We had a tragedy at my school and we lost a student, which was just very hard for the teachers, for the students, obviously for this child's family, and it was just something that I have never dealt with before. And so I didn't have the capacity to hold both grief and the desire to make silly little book videos that week. So I just took that week off. And then after that, I got the worst case of COVID I've had. This is now round 3 of COVID, and I had pretty much everything you could have with this bout of COVID. I won't get into details, but I still can't taste anything. And when I cough, I'm convinced I have either a pulled muscle or a cracked rib, because the pain that I feel in my left rib cage when I cough is so bad. But that's not what y'all came here for. You came here to hear my final thoughts on these books. So I did finish So Thirsty, and I think that this book is not going to be for a lot of people, especially a lot of people who watch my channel. I did find aspects of this book enjoyable. I did like the main character. I did like the friendship between the main character, Sloane, and her friend Naomi. That was by far the highlight of this book to me. Really, the whole opening segment of the friends getting back together and going on a little trip, that was so much fun. Once the vampires got thrown in, that's where the whole, oh my gosh, I can't believe she just put that in there stuff starts. And that goes on for maybe 25% of the book. And then I kind of lost interest in the book after that. The stuff that was happening was kind of almost slapstick, farcical, and I found myself zoning out during the third 25% section. But the ending of this book was worth reading the rest of the book for. So is this going to be a favorite Rachel Harrison? No. I'm glad I have it. I'm glad I have the aardvark version. I'm glad it's signed. But it's going to kind of go down there with Black Sheep, where yay, I liked it just fine. I'm glad I read it. It also, like Black Sheep, has the content that I don't think is going to work for a lot of my viewers. And so I think I settled on a 3.5 for this one, maybe. But if we go back and talk about The Return, y'all know I really, really liked this one. I can't remember off the top of my head what I gave it. It was a 4 or a 4.5. It might have even been a 5. I can't remember. But this one, I can't decide if I like this one more than Cackle or not. I think I still liked Cackle more. So as of right now, with the Rachel Harrison books that I read, we have Cackle in first place. We have The Return in second place. We have probably Black Sheep in third place, and then So Thirsty in fourth place. Now, I do still have Such Sharp Teeth to read, and I do still have Bad Dolls to read, which I'll probably read those next year, or maybe if I want a summer ween book, I'll save those for then. But I want to thank you guys so much for sticking it out with me. This video has been a long time coming, so it's here finally, guys. Yay! And if you watched all the way to the end of this, either leave a building emoji, because this book takes place in a hotel, so any kind of fun building, or obviously leave a vampire or a drop of blood for So Thirsty. And thank you guys so much for being here. It really does mean a lot. I'm happy to be back making videos and to have that spark underneath me again. And I hope you have a great day wherever you are. I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye, guys.